Hey guys, it's Bree. I hope you're having a fantastic Monday. Today we're going to talk about The Silver Gate by Kristin Bailey. This was a book that made me cry. I'll say it first so that you all know. This was a book that made me cry. This was a children's book, moreover, that made me cry. But this is exactly the kind of thing that does that to me, and I'll talk about it a little bit more in a second. Basically, this is a book about a little boy named Elric who's about 13 and his little sister Wyn. Elric and Wyn live in a village where people believe that small babies are exchanged for changelings, and that those changelings basically leave a curse on the community. You can tell that someone's a changeling because they have some sort of physical, mental, intellectual, developmental disability. Anything like that, and then they are seen as absolute curses and should be left out to the wild, where those small children then die. Elric's sister Wyn has a disability. Wyn has Rubinstein-Taybi syndrome, which is basically primarily a physical disability, but also has an intellectual and developmental component. Elric lives in the main part of the community with his father. He's a shepherd boy and responsible and does all the things he should be doing. Wyn lives with their mother in the forest in a hut that their mother built. Wyn's mother left the village basically under the cloak of night to go and save her daughter, knowing that if the villagers found out what her daughter was like, that her daughter had a disability, that they would try to kill her daughter. Wyn is fantastic and funny and super sentimental, but can't really walk very well and has a speech impediment, sometimes has trouble grasping complex tasks. And Elric basically has spent his life either being a shepherd for the village or being with his mom and his sister taking care of his sister. At the very start of the story, their mother dies. Their father decides to sell Wyn, basically, to the Lord. But Elric, being kind of an intuitive, very heartfelt child, recognizes this by and large for what it is, which is that his sister is going to be treated basically worse than a dog. That they will be cruel and hard and will not have mercy for her when their tasks simply beyond Wyn's capability. So he and Wyn run away in the dead of night, in the dead of winter. Elric is pretty sure that he's going to take her to a convent so that nuns will take care of her. But Wyn believes in the Silver Gate, where the changelings are taken back home by the Fairy Queen. It's a long adventure, and again, made me cry more than once. So I should preface what I'm about to say basically with telling you about my brother. My brother Garrett is fantastic. He's almost 30, but developmentally he's about 3. And so Elric and Wyn's situation is one that I am really, really capable of sympathizing with. One that I knew going in was going to be really emotional for me, and one that I recognize right away. That being said, it resonated with me because there's a lot of truth in what they talk about. Bailey talks a lot about the relationship between Elric and Wyn. Elric, who really wants to protect his sister, who wants to be a caregiver for her, but is frustrated because he's not really old enough or developed enough, independent enough to do these things. And Wyn, who just wants to have the freedom to be who she is, who knows what she's capable of and doesn't want him hovering over her. There are a number of situations where Elric kind of tries to do things for Wyn that she's capable of doing herself and they clash over it. Or where Wyn is trying to communicate something to Elric, and because they don't necessarily communicate in the same way, Elric will do something really harmful to her, or vice versa, because they simply kind of aren't on the same page. And these were situations that are very honest and true. Where does protecting someone you love become encroaching on their individuality and their self-affirmation and their really independence? And again, it just tears at my heart. I knew it would. A lot of the story also has to do with belief. Wynn believes with all her heart that the Fairy Queen is out there, that the Silver Gate is out there, that they will find it. And Elric, who has a hard time believing this, really is the realist of the group and has a real forceful nature about that. Choosing to believe in something as opposed to just believing it because is something that Bailey talks about that I think is really interesting. There's especially a really interesting component where what if your belief insinuates something that you don't want to be true? Take this for what it's worth, because I am exactly the kind of person who's going to cry over this, and for very personal reasons. But the prose is beautiful and the plot is compelling and the characters are really well developed. I really, really enjoyed it. If you've read The Silver Gate, you should let me know what you think. I'm really interested in your opinions and would love to hear your thoughts about Wynn and Elric. I hope you are having a fantastic start to your reading week. You know the drill. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. I will talk to you later. Bye.